if you are a Scottish wrestling fan, then hopefully you will be very excited about the events that happened at the WWE Royal Rumble 2020 event. The reason being, one of Scotland's very own, Drew McIntyre, won the men's Royal Rumble match. For a country that, let's be honest, isn't really used to major sporting, or even if you want to call it entertainment, success, this is a major achievement for one of our very own. For those not understanding how major an achievement this is by a Scotsman, let's look at the situation that there is. WWE is of course one of the biggest professional wrestling, or as they prefer to use the term, sports entertainment companies in the world. The Royal Rumble pay-per-view that happens every January is one of their biggest events of the year. It used to be part of the Big Four, as they called it in the 80s and the 90s, of the Royal Rumble, Wrestlemania, Survivor Series, and of course one of my favourites, SummerSlam, which I was featured on many years ago now. Video of me. But anyway, that was the Big Four. Royal Rumble, to give it the proper timeline, the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam and Survivor Series. And this has been the 33rd edition of the Royal Rumble, which is a major match. It's one of the biggest matches, one of the biggest pay-per-views, as I said, in their calendar year. And this is, like I said, a 33rd edition, so there's a lot of history and prestige behind winning this match. Not only this match where we see 30 superstars all vying to avoid elimination by being thrown over the top rope and both feet hitting the floor and wanting to be the last superstar standing, so the winner, if you are the winner, if you achieve that, if you avoid elimination, if you are the last superstar standing, not only have you got bragging rights to say you have won the Royal Rumble match, which in any company, whether you go from WWE to New Japan Pro Wrestling to any other company around the world, that is a bragging right. You're in the history books as winner of the Royal Rumble, men's or women's, doesn't matter. When I'm concentrating on the men's, as I said, the women's very prestigious, not worth, and not really, you shouldn't look down your nose at the women's Royal Rumble, but I'm talking about the men's in this situation. It's a very historic, very prestigious match, so the bragging rights are not only there, it's the other two amalgamating, I suppose you could call it, prizes that you get for winning the Royal Rumble that goes towards making this match so prestigious. There are two main prizes, I suppose you could call it, that you've achieved. First of all, the winner of the men's Royal Rumble match earns themselves a championship match for one of WWE's current two heavyweight championships. Currently WWE has their Universal Championship, currently held by Bray Wyatt, and the WWE Championship, held currently by Brock Lesnar, one of the men whom Drew McIntyre eliminated during this Royal Rumble match, and as we've seen this year, who Drew McIntyre is scheduled to face for this championship match. And not only does Drew have a guaranteed now WWE Championship match, the second part of the prize is astounding as well, and this is again what makes the Rumble match and this opportunity so prestigious and so valued. Because I know I'm overusing the word prestigious, but it's so valued because that match is going to happen at WWE's biggest pay-per-view of the year. It's their Super Bowl, it's their World Series, it's all these cliches that everybody talks about when trying to tell non-wrestling fans how big this event is. It's going to happen at WrestleMania. WrestleMania 36. I think it's going to be held, I think it's something like April 5th in Tampa. I'll have to double check that, but certainly this year's WrestleMania, that's where the match will take place. They will main event an event that is WWE's biggest event of the year. That is a huge, huge opportunity for Drew McIntyre, for anyone else who wins the Royal Rumble. So Drew not only has won the Royal Rumble, earned a WWE Championship match, he is going to be in the main event, or certainly a major focused match at WrestleMania. Whether it's going to be the very last match of the night, sometimes these days we don't exactly know. Like last year, the women had their first WrestleMania main event for their championships, which was well deserved. I have no problem with that. In fact, I very much support it wholeheartedly. So Drew McIntyre is in a unique position. He is now a Scottish-born guy from Ayr, Scotland, genuine, born and raised in Scotland, now is facing his very first WrestleMania main event and potentially walking away from WrestleMania as WWE Champion. So that leads me to the question, okay, could Drew really walk out of WrestleMania as WWE Champion? Well, let's face it, we all know professional wrestling, sports entertainment is scripted, the winners, losers chosen beforehand. So, there is an entire possibility that Drew can walk out of WrestleMania as WWE Champion. However it happens, some people have been talking last couple of days about Cain Velasquez, the UFC fighter. I think, was it him, that Brock Lesnar defeated for the UFC Championship a few years ago, I believe. Certainly some people are pushing for a Cain Velasquez versus Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania. I sincerely hope that this is the match that now has been published about, and it seems that WWE are making that match, and I really do hope that Cain Velasquez, to be honest, stays out of it in terms of being the official match. One-on-one we need to see. We saw a triple threat with the ladies last year. I would like to see it a one-on-one singles match main event this year's WrestleMania. So it's very easy that WWE can make the decision to have Drew McIntyre leave WrestleMania with the WWE Championship. Should we see Drew McIntyre leave WrestleMania with the WWE Championship? A historic thing that no other UK British man, because Becky Lynch has been women's champion, and I don't want to denigrate that again. She's been, I think she's held both titles for the WWE Women's Championship, World Champion in her field, without a doubt. Again, not denigrating the Women's Championship at all, before anybody makes any comment. But no UK so-called British guy has held the WWE Championship. Yeah, Sheamus has been WWE Champion, he's from Dublin, the Republic of Ireland. His achievement, again, I don't want to go against that because I'm a fan of him as well, or has been for the last 10 years. I've been a fan of Drew and Sheamus for about 12, 13 years now, because I was able to see some of their Irish whip wrestling stuff just before both of them went to WWE for Drew's first run, and Sheamus has been there since. But anyway, should we see it? I think we should, because to be honest, it all boils down, without going off on a tangent, trying to stop myself from going off on a tangent. I think there is an entire possibility of Drew actually winning the championship. But let's be fair to Brock Lesnar, the beast incarnate. Brock will not lose anything by losing to Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. Brock has earned his legacy. He's an former amateur wrestler, WWE champion multiple times. He's former UFC champion, as I mentioned. He is one of the toughest, baddest guys in WWE right now. Whether you think whatever you think of his wrestling style and what he does in the ring, he is a tough SOB. He's one of the toughest SOBs walking WWE right now, and that's nothing against Stone Cold Steve Austin before anybody says that either. Currently, I'm talking about Brock Lesnar is a badass, and he will remain that way. His legacy, he will go in the WWE Hall of Fame one day, and this loss, if he does it, let's be honest, it will not harm him. It will not take away from his mystique. It will not take away from his reputation. It will actually enhance his reputation, especially if he does it the right way. If he, and said people want to see Cain Velasquez versus Brock Lesnar. Even if Cain Velasquez interferes in the match, distracts Brock Lesnar, costs Brock the match, the advantage, so that Drew can capitalise on it, I don't care. I would love to see Drew walking away from WrestleMania as WWE Champion. However way it happens. Because if it happens that way, Brock Lesnar goes right against Cain Velasquez in a rematch somewhere down the line, maybe the next pay-per-view or a couple of months down the line, whenever. Brock goes immediately into another program, and we've got the first Scottish-born WWE Champion in history. So, I think we should see it happen. I do think. And does he deserve it? Yes, of course he does. Drew McIntyre's worked his ass off. Let's be honest. Over the last, I think he's wrestled for 18, 19 years. You know, we saw it didn't work out for him his first time in WWE. I saw it personally. I followed, like I said, I followed him since just before the first WWE run. I saw him come home here to Scotland, work hard to rebuild his confidence with companies like ICW. I saw him in Dundee for SWE for their big Hell for Lycra show a few years ago. He's travelled the world. He's been in Impact Wrestling. He's rebuilt himself because, let's be honest, and I don't want to go into too personal stuff because I don't know the guy, and this is all what I told a couple of years ago, that he'd lost a great deal of his confidence when he returned home to Scotland after being released by WWE. But he's rebuilt himself. He's really grown into being the chosen one that he originally was kind of advertised and pushed to be in his first WWE run. He was supposed to be he was Vince McMahon's chosen next major star for WWE, and I think the time is hopefully right. I think the time is actually right for Drew McIntyre to become WWE Champion. I really hope that we see that at WrestleMania. Whenever I end up watching the event, I really want to see Drew McIntyre. Obviously, as you can tell, I'm wearing the t-shirt. I'm going to order one of his new t-shirts in time for WrestleMania. When I get the money, I'm certainly behind Drew McIntyre, and certainly in terms, just in case anyone wondering before I wrap this video up, is Scotland behind them? Yeah, I think Scotland is behind him. As I said, he was welcomed, and this is not just, I'm not trying to blow smoke up Drew's rear end or WWE's rear end or ICW's rear end, Mark Dallas's rear end, or any promoter that's dealt with Drew over the past few years. Drew was welcomed back to Scotland with open arms. He was on the original ICW shows. Everybody knows his story. I don't want to go into it, but when he was released and he made the decision to make his first post-WWE appearances back here in Scotland for companies like BCW, ICW, and a few others, and when he started traveling the world. But certainly here in Scotland, he was welcomed back with open arms. Absolutely welcomed back with open arms. Very quick story. I was told by people that knew Drew, his confidence was knocked a lot, and especially even I think it was a few months after he returned to Scotland. Not that he still lived in America, he still lives in America, but he started to do shows back here in Scotland. That he honestly thought when he came to an ICW show here in Dundee, that people wouldn't react to him, that people would be basically standing with their hands beside our sides with our hands at our sides because we didn't care about him. But he got a tremendous reaction when he stepped through that curtain here in Dundee at that ICW show, and hopefully reactions like that helped him rebuild his confidence. So I really hope that we see Drew McIntyre walk out of WrestleMania 36 as WWE Champion. It would be fantastic. I cannot say how much we Scottish fans want Drew to walk out of WrestleMania. Not that we were trying to put the pressure on him to do so, but I really do hope that we see whether it be at the end of WrestleMania, at some point during it, Drew McIntyre be crowned WWE Champion and achieve something that no other UK British wrestler, especially no other Scottish wrestler, has achieved, and be WWE Champion.